porch light glows on a quiet street, left on for someone who never came home. Tonight, a 27-year-old med student who walked into a bar and, according to cameras, was never seen leaving. This is the disappearance of Brian Schaffer. Leave a light on, and let's go word by word. Friday, March 31st, 2006. Spring break has just started at Ohio State University. Brian Randall Schaffer, 6'2", brown hair, hazel eyes, a Pearl Jam stick figure tattoo on his upper right arm, has been grinding through second-year med school exams. Earlier that evening, he grabs a steak dinner with his dad, Randy Schaffer. Randy thinks Brian looks exhausted, but he doesn't try to talk him out of going out later with a friend. It's spring break. It's supposed to be a breather. Around 9 p.m., Brian meets his friend Clint Florence at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a second-floor bar in the South Campus Gateway on High Street in Columbus. About an hour later, Brian calls his girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner, who's visiting family before the two of them are supposed to fly to Miami on Monday. They say goodnight, excited for the trip. From there, the guys go bar hopping, one shot each per stop according to Clint, down toward the Arena District. After midnight, they link up with Meredith Reed, a friend of Clint's. Meredith gives them a ride back to the Ugly Tuna for a last round. It's crowded, loud, and a band is playing. At some point inside, Brian drifts away from his friends. Just before 2 a.m., the security camera positioned near the top of the escalator catches Brian outside the entrance, briefly chatting with two young women. A minute later, he moves off camera, apparently back toward the bar entrance. Closing time is imminent. When the Ugly Tuna empties at 2 a.m., Clint and Meredith wait outside for Brian. He never comes down. They call, they look around, and eventually assume he got a ride or walked home. He didn't. By Monday morning, Brian misses the flight to Miami. Now it's clearly an emergency. The Columbus Division of Police opens a missing person investigation. Detectives pull the camera footage from the Gateway complex. It shows the trio riding up the escalator to the bar at 1:15 a.m. It shows Brian outside at 1:55 a.m. But the footage doesn't show him leaving via the main entrance as crowds pour out. Investigators examine whether he could have disguised himself, hat, hoodie, head down, or slipped out in a cluster of people. But one of the original detectives later said he could state with 100% certainty that Brian did not return down that escalator on camera. So how else could he have left? At the time, part of the building was under construction. Near where Brian was last seen, a service door led to an interior hallway and then to construction access with its own exterior exit. Camera coverage there wasn't complete. One camera panned, another was manually operated. If Brian used that route, it's possible no camera captured him clearly. Police searched the site, nearby alleys, rooftops, dumpsters, and along the Olentangy River. Nothing. Brian wasn't a ghost. He had a life in motion, a demanding med school schedule, a close relationship with his family, a serious girlfriend. Just 3 weeks earlier, Brian's mother, Renee, had died of cancer, a devastating blow. Friends said he was grieving but not spiraling into self-harm. Bank accounts, untouched. Credit cards, never used. Car and apartment, normal. No obvious preparation to disappear. One of the strangest moments came 5 months later. Alexis had been calling Brian's phone nightly, always getting voicemail. One night, the call rang 3 times. Cell records showed a ping off a tower in Hilliard, a suburb northwest of Columbus. The carrier told police it was likely a system glitch, not evidence of a live phone. If it was a glitch, cruel hope. If it wasn't, someone, somewhere powered that device, even briefly. No actionable lead came from it. 2 years later, tragedy hit again. In September 2008, Brian's father, Randy, was killed in a freak windstorm accident at home. Not long after, someone posted on Randy's online obituary, "Dad, I love you. Love, Brian. U.S. Virgin Islands." Investigators traced it to a public computer in Franklin County, not the islands. Another hoax, another twist of the knife. In later years, tips rolled in. A supposed sighting in Tijuana, ruled out by the FBI with facial recognition. In 2021, Ohio released an age-progressed image of what Brian might look like. Still no break. So what could have happened? One theory is an accident. If Brian left through that service construction route, he might have wandered into a poorly lit area, fallen, or suffered an accident no one witnessed. Investigators looked at the construction area and nearby riverfront. Cadaver dogs didn't confirm anything, and you would expect a body to turn up during the massive early searches or later development, yet none did. Another theory is foul play. If he exited via the construction egress, he could have run into the wrong person, a robbery or assault just far enough from coverage to avoid the lens. This theory fits the no exit on camera problem, but lacks physical evidence. There's also a broader internet theory linking certain disappearances to a so-called smiley face killer, but law enforcement has not validated a connection in Brian's case. A third theory, voluntary disappearance. Could Brian have walked away from his life, grief-stricken after his mother's death, and started over? Some point to the Miami trip and rumors he considered big changes. But again, no financial trail, no credible sightings, and 20 years of silence from someone deeply connected to his family. If he did choose to vanish, he left almost no digital or financial trace, which is rare and difficult. Finally, a more fringe theory, that Brian never left the building. Some online suggest Brian died inside the bar, by accident or violence, and his body was later removed. Concealing something like that through closing, cleaning, and the following day with police interest accelerating would be incredibly risky. There's no evidence publicly supporting this, but the theory persists because the cameras never show an exit. What about the friends that night? Police interviewed the band, staff, and the two women seen with Brian. Everyone cooperated, except for one detail that fuels speculation. Brian's friend Clint Florence declined a polygraph. His attorney later said polygraphs are unreliable, and refusing one isn't evidence of guilt. Still, the refusal and years of limited engagement with the family keep online suspicion alive. It's important to remember, there's no public evidence implicating him in wrongdoing. Let's replay that closing hour as tightly as possible. At 1:15 a.m., camera shows Brian, Clint, and Meredith ride up the escalator to Ugly Tuna. At about 1:55 a.m., camera shows Brian just outside the entrance, talking with two women, then he moves out of frame toward the bar doors as closing approaches. At 2 a.m., the bar closes. Clint and Meredith wait outside. Brian doesn't come down the escalator. After 2 a.m., calls to Brian's phone go to voicemail. No camera at the main entrance shows him, and other nearby bar cameras don't capture him either. By Monday, Brian misses the flight to Miami with Alexis. A missing person case begins in earnest. Between 1:55 and 2 a.m., Brian either left by a route the cameras didn't capture, most plausibly the service construction exit, or something happened very close to the bar that's never been seen or reported. Most disappearances leave too many possibilities. This one leaves too few. Brian walks into a place with cameras. No confirmed video of him walking out, no money trail, no phone trail after that odd Hilliard ping months later. The leads that look like breakthroughs, the obituary message, the Tijuana photo, collapse, and the most straightforward explanation, an accident, still hasn't been supported by physical evidence. For Brian's brother Derek, for Alexis, and for the friends who still put up flyers and share his age-progressed photos. The hardest part is that the last clear image is right there, a freeze frame outside a bar door, followed by a void. If you know anything about the disappearance of Brian Randall Schaffer, contact the Columbus Division of Police or the FBI's VICAP program. Brian was 27 when he vanished, 6'2", around 160 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes with a distinct fleck in the left iris, and a Pearl Jam stick figure tattoo on his upper right arm. If you watched this far, keep those porch lights on for the missing and for the families who are still waiting. If you have a tip, don't sit on it. Share this video, leave your theories in the comments, and tell me which case you want next. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay twisted.